Hello everyone, welcome back to Easy Knowledge. Today we will be talking about the classification and separation of substances. This is the part 2 of my previous video. I will be giving the link of the part 1 in the description box. For today we will be continuing from where we left last week. Before we start, I'm going to give a quick recap of what we did in the video last week. So we discussed about the classification of substances. In that we covered 5 topics: roughness, transparency, solubility, hardness and magnetism. Now that we are done with the recap, the topics we'll be covering today are mixtures. I've given a small recap on this too. Separation of solid mixtures, separation of solid liquid mixtures, and separation of liquid mixtures. I've also included a small summary at the end of the video. So the first topic is mixtures. We learned about homogeneous mixtures and heterogeneous mixtures. These are the forms of mixtures, and we also learned about the 5 types of mixtures. Solid liquid mixture, in which the components are both solids. In the solid liquid mixture, the components are one solid and one liquid. In liquid, both the components are liquids. In a liquid gas mixture, the components are liquid and gas. And in gas mixture, both of the components of the mixture are in the gaseous form. Now we will be discussing about the separation of a solid to solid mixture. There are 4 ways: handpicking, winnowing, sieving and threshing. I'll be explaining all of them in the following slides. The first one is handpicking. Handpicking is one of the easiest ways to separate solid to solid mixtures. This is only possible when the components of the mixture differ in size. Example, you need to separate a mixture of rice and stones. You can remove the stones by your bare hand. So this is hand picking. The second way of separation we will be learning about is winnowing. Winnowing is where air blows the powder chaff away from the grains. This happens when you move the grains continuously. The grains fall to the ground and the chaff falls to the ground after a distance. This is because the chaff is lighter. The air blows the chaff away, and when it lands to a distance apart from the grains. The third method is sieving. Sieving is when a mixture with a powdered and a lump component are separated using a sieve. A sieve is a utensil with a plastic mesh which only allows powdered solids and liquids with no lumps to pass through. The lump part stays on top of the plastic mesh. For example, when you bake a cake, you add flour. You mostly sieve it to make sure there are no lumps in it. The fourth and the last method we will be learning is threshing. Threshing is separating grain from other crops. It is usually done with a flail or by the action of a revolving mechanism. Now we will be talking about the separation of a solid liquid mixture. There are 3 ways of separation we will be learning about: sedimentation, decantation and filtration. I will be explaining all these in the following slides. Sedimentation. Sedimentation is when an insoluble solid and a liquid form a mixture. After some time, the solid starts to settle down. The solid that settles down is called the sediment. Slowly, all the solid is down and the liquid is clear. This process is called sedimentation. The second way of separation we will be learning about is decantation. After sedimentation occurs, the liquid is slowly removed and put in another container. The solid is put on a parchment or on a tray and is kept in the sun to make sure no liquid is left. The third and the final method of separation under the separation of solid liquid mixture is filtration. This only works when an insoluble light solid and a liquid form the mixture. The mixture is filtered using the filter paper. This is kept in a filter funnel. The liquid or the solution goes through the filter paper and the solid is left on the filter paper. The liquid that gets filtered is called the filtrate and the solid that is left is called the residue. The last topic we'll be covering today is the separation of liquid-liquid mixtures. There's only one process in this, it is called distillation. Now distillation has two processes in it, evaporation and condensation. I will be explaining this in detail in the following slide. There are a few steps in which distillation occurs. Firstly, a burner is set up to evaporate the solution. There's a tube attached above the flask. The vapor goes into the tube where it reaches the condensers. Over there, the vapor turns into a liquid which is put into another container. Meanwhile, in the flask, the solid is collected which has evaporated. This process helps in separating a sugar water solution or it also helps in purifying water. So to understand the process of distillation better, I have used this diagram here. So there's this Bunsen burner right here and here is our solution. Over here there's a clamp so to hold it. Here this is the distillation flask and this is salt water. The solution is salt water. Over here the thermometer measures the vapors. From here the vapors go up and the vapor go into this tube, through this tube. Over here cold water goes in the condensers which helps in condensing the vapors which are right now traveling through. So over here the condensation occurs and from there the liquid goes down into this container. So this is how distillation occurs. I hope this diagram has helped you understand the process better. Now for a quick summary on what we learned today. So in the separation of solid mixtures, we learned about winnowing, hand picking, sieving and threshing. We learned about the separation of solid liquid mixtures in which we learned about sedimentation, decantation and filtration. And lastly, in the separation of liquid-liquid mixtures, we learned about distillation. Thank you everyone for watching this video. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I will be back with another interesting topic next week. Until then, bye.